Last time you guys saw us, we picked up the cheapest Subaru Forester XT for only $1,000. Not to mention, it comes with the beautiful 5-speed manual, and we were able to drive it home 2 hours that same day. But obviously, buying the cheapest car doesn't mean you get the best car. So we picked up one of the worst deals on the marketplace, a 2005 Subaru Forester XS with a blown head gasket for $1,300. Do you see the problem here? $1,000, runs and drives, took it 2 hours home, $1,300, a hunk of junk. And if it isn't obvious, the reason why we picked this up is to help bring this car back to life, because I'm hoping that buying a parts car is smarter than buying all the parts separately to fix up my beautiful Subaru Forester XT Rocco. So in today's video, we're gonna actually find out if the gamble is gonna pay off, because today we're stripping off whatever else this car needs to make it a beautiful, reliable daily driver once again. So let's find out together if buying a whole nother Subaru was a smart move or a giant waste of time. Let's get into it. So we've already made fantastic progress on the Subaru Forester, but I'm kind of getting tired of having two Foresters. We only need one of them, so today we're going to finish up everything that we need from this car to place onto this car and hopefully break even or just junk this other Subaru. So one of the things that I've noticed with this car is, since it had a replaced fender, I'm assuming it was in an accident, because every time we open up this hood, it kind of stays up and it's really stiff to open. And same concept goes for the door. It's really stiff to open and it's not super aligned like this one is on the junk Subaru. So right now I'm pretty sure that because of the potential accident, the hood hinge and the door hinges are broken. Unfortunately, we got to remove the fender again, but that's okay. That should be easy since it's still fresh in our brain. We're going to replace this hood hinge with the one on the other car and replace the door hinges on the one that are on the other car, because we got to remove the fender either way. So let's get into this and get to work. I am so happy that I was right. So here's the hood hinge off of the XT. Can't really tell a huge difference, but here's the hood hinge off of the parts car. And as you can see with this one, I can move no problem. And then this one, putting all my might into it, and now it turned. And pull. So I think there's a slight bend right here that I really can't even notice, right in this joint here, that it's causing it to be so stiff, which means that the door hinges are probably our issue for the stiff door as well. So super happy I got this right, because I was kind of guessing almost, but it made sense in my head, so I wasn't fully guessing. This would be a little bit easier with some help, but I was able to one-man this. If we did everything right, this should just fall. And it does. That is how a hood hinge should work. Now onto the little bit of a harder part, which is the door hinges. So I'm trying to do my best not to remove the fender, because, I don't know, I just feel like it'll be more work in the end to take it off and on than to just sneak my hand in through there. So we're gonna take off these two bolts, and then there's two more bolts here holding on the door. And these bolts were surprisingly loose already, which worries me a little bit. And here's the same concept here. Here's the old door hinge, which I believe this part here is slightly bent that way, but I can't open or close it by hand. And then here's out of the parts car. Very easy to turn and open. Can't turn at all. So another win. And here's what I meant by the door not lining up. Obviously this needs to be up a little higher and closer to this molding where it's kind of sunken down. And then when you open it, it's just really, really stiff to open and close. Versus this side, this is the driver's side, is much more aligned. You can see that the weather stripping is aligned here, everything is aligned here, and it looks a lot more factory and fresh, and this door opens up easily. Going in with the parts cars. Now we have a hopefully working hood hinge again. So we have everything put back together on the Subaru, and the door is now opening super smoothly, no effort. You can open it with one finger and it'll open by itself. Unfortunately, the alignment of the door is still a little bit off. It's gonna bother me, so I'm gonna have to fix this, but I'm really not sure how much fine tuning I can do from there. But I don't think there's any fine tuning on this side because this is everything you need to take off the door. I'm gonna have to fiddle with it a little bit more, but let's move on to the next thing. Switching over to the interior, we have this secret compartment that has a phone holder. I don't have the attachment, so I just want to get rid of it. And instead of dealing with the glue residue, I have a parts car. I already have this popped a little loose. We should just be able to pull right up. A few little shimmy shams. Now this should just come right out. We have one connector behind here that I need to unplug. Connectors unplug. Now we can take this out. And now we no longer have this Garmin phone mount here anymore. So I found little mouse droppings in here and it looks like they ate through this little foam piece a little bit. So we're gonna remove it. Luckily there's no smell in the car, but I don't like the feeling knowing that there's mouse poop in here. And now going in with our new secret compartment console dash thing. Now I wanted to just work on little annoying things like this broken sun visor mirror. Out with the old and in with the new. Thanks to the parts car. These missing seatbelt cover plates. This ashtray, fixed. Speaking of other little things, our armrests here. One of the bolts here are broken. I tried to tighten this, but the actual screws in here are broken. So, you already know what we're doing. Going in with another. Another satisfying fix. Complete. For some reason, all the other windows work well, but this is the only one that doesn't work. Pull off the door panel and see what's going on. Disconnect the window switch. Oh, got it. First look, looks like they put an aftermarket speaker here, but I don't see anything jumping out to me, but I know we got to take off this plastic piece here, at least slightly. I looked up a quick tutorial on how to do this, and it looks like we got to take out a lot. Every single bolt that you see pretty much has to come out, including the mirror, to take out the window regulator, which is kind of crazy, but I'm just doing what I'm told. My hands look like this because it was crazy difficult to take out the window regulator and the motor, especially with it being broken. So it looks like the previous owner did not give us the right window motor, because this is what it's supposed to look like, and that looks nothing like this. So I have to wait for the new window regulator to come in. So for now, my car is looking like this. It took a few days, but here's the old window regulator and motor, and here is the new one. I'm pretty sure it is the same, but this spring here looks a little different from there. And then the motor I took off already, which was supposed to go here, but everything else is lining up pretty well. And I'm not gonna film much of it, so we're just gonna get straight into putting it back together, because it was already a struggle to take off. So I wanna lock in, get it done, so we have a working window once again. Unfortunately, my tape job failed with this summer heat. So left the little glue marks there that we'll have to clean up later. But before I put the window motor on, I want to make sure that it actually works. So we got everything loosely plugged in here. And this is plugged in right now. I don't know where to put my hand that it's safe, but don't know if you hear that, but it's working. All right, so that was the issue. Let's put it all back together and finally have a working window. All right, we have everything loosely put back together. Window goes down, and window goes up, but it goes up way too high. I don't know if you could see this part here, but this part, you can see the old dirt line of where it used to stop, and now it's stopping way higher than that. So we got to fix that somehow. So everything needs to come back off. I'm going to do a little bit more fine tuning and hopefully we'll be done. All right, we have the window all fixed, all aligned perfectly. I believe we still have this dirt line here because maybe when the window motor broke, it was just slightly lower when it stopped working. But I checked the gap on the other side. This gap matches perfectly to the other side. Now all we have to do is put the mirror back on, because for some reason Subaru made it that you have to take this out in order to replace this window motor. But there's one thing that is an issue on all Subarus that I want to fix before putting this on. So Subarus are notorious for having a little bit of wind noise whenever you're driving on the highway. The big culprit is this gasket here. It's supposed to be nice, small, and pretty tight.
That's what she said.
So that way when the window glides through it, it has that gasket to stop any wind from coming through. But over time, with the repetitive window going up and down, it wears down this space, causing it to push out. Luckily, it's a really easy fix. All you need is a C-clamp. You put the C-clamp here and close off the gap that's here in the mirror, allowing it to squeeze onto the window a little bit tighter and allow less air to enter into the cabin, reducing that wind noise significantly. I did this on my last Subaru. It fixed the issue completely. So I don't even know if the Subaru does it, but with the gap that we have right now, I am pretty sure it's probably doing the same issue anyway. So I'm gonna start from the top down. You don't even need the mirror out to do this. You can do it with it still on the car, but I already took it out, so I was like, might as well. And you can see that gap getting smaller and smaller. You don't need to push too hard, and then work your way down the entire mirror until you got a small, even gap throughout the whole entire window gasket. You can see how much smaller the gap is. Of course, there's gonna be a little bit of recoil once I release it, but just compress that all the way down and fix your wind noise issue. And here's the gap now. I might have done a little bit too much, but if you end up doing too much, you can just stick a screwdriver right in between the gap there, wiggle it, and it'll give you some room to have the window roll up and down again. But I think this will be fine. I'm gonna put it on the car and test everything out. Now, boy, did it get dark. It pulled out the spotlight to finish the job, but we have everything working correctly. The window goes up through that nice little gap, has a nice seal on it, no issues there, and perfectly goes back down with no issues. So I'm gonna finish this all up tomorrow morning when I have daylight and work on whatever else is broken. Everything is now put back together. Window is finally working after 3 days of work. But for some reason, this little trim piece, weather stripping, will not fit. I had to remove this in order to get the mirror on, because no matter what I did, the mirror would not fit. I'm gonna just grind this down just a tiny bit so that way it can fit snugly back into its slot, because everything is working fine, everything is lining up well. It's just now this won't go back to where it was supposed to. So right now, every time I try to open or close the door, this coin holder part starts to pop out. It's been really annoying. So let's change it. And now finally, I could go back in with my new cup holder thing, coin holder. That won't pop out on me. Pop that back into place. And now we can go in with the screw that we were missing on the other car. Screws fully seated in. Time for the final touch. Come on. Come on. There we go. And test it out. Look at that. It's these little things that really just make the car more enjoyable. Even though it's just a little cup holder, just not having to have it pop out every time I open or close the door makes it that much more enjoyable of a daily. I don't know if I mentioned it already, but I had an ABS light for the G sensor, which would go somewhere like that. And I've been reading forums, and the reason for them to fail is if somebody spills a drink or something like that, getting the electrical component damaged. And I believe because of the nest, they might have peed on the sensor or something like that. It doesn't smell like pee, but it sure does look like a nest. I got the new G sensor from the last car, but we're gonna vacuum this all out and make it look all pretty like before we put it all back together. Now with this looking a million times better, we could go in with our new used G sensor. Now plugging in the connectors, installing the center console first, and then the shifter afterwards. There we go. Next going in with our limp shifter. which just clicks into place. Now our shift knob. Good. And lastly, going in with these two little covers to cover all the filth. We will eventually clean it someday, but today is not that day. Now, after all that work, do we still have an ABS light? And just like that, we went from 3 lights, which was the check engine light and the airbag light and ABS light, down to just the airbag light. Making huge progress on this Subaru. So my hood latch hasn't been working on this car, so I've been using an obvious bungee cord system to keep it from flying up. But since we have the donor car, I took off the old hood release cable from there. We're gonna remove this one, replace it, super simple, 3 bolts, and pop it off. All we have to do is just pop off the hood release cable, snake this out of here, like so. And you can obviously see the difference. I could go out and buy a new one because this one that's on the car is all rusty, but we have the donor car and all the mechanisms on it are working, so might as well use it because we have it. Hood release cable, lock it in place. And then now, just 3 bolts. New used hood release latch back on. All right, come on, baby. Let me hear a nice click from you. Oh, look at that. Before I used to be able to just pull this up, no problem. Oh, that is so awesome. This is such a good feeling. It's just the little things coming back to life because that bungee cord system was such a pain in the butt to have to keep doing. Oh, yes. Awesome. We just need to put back on the grill. But first, do we get a satisfying pop when we pull the hood release? Oh yeah, baby. I don't know if you heard it, but that hood is popped. Nice. Grill put back all together. Let's see what's next for the car. We already have great rhythm on this car. Next thing I want to address is the windshield washer fluid. The motors on them, on both of them, have gone bad and they're not spraying any fluid out. So I got a parts car. So we're taking this one out, putting the other one in. Ooh, that screw just stripped out. That one stripped out also. Take number 2. Got the connectors removed. And now we just have these 1-2 hoses to swap onto the other one. But you will start losing windshield washer fluid as soon as you do it, so plug it up and do it as fast as you can. All right, got these 2 all plugged up, and here's the one from the other car. I already lost the hoses. Here's one here. Where's the other one? The other one is here. I'm assuming this one goes to this one. Good. And now I have the nicer bolts going in from the other car. And now we should be able to do this. I think that's pretty much everything done inside the engine bay. Satisfying close. Boom. Now testing to see if we're able to clean our windshield. Look at that, boys. Working windshield wipers. Highly underrated fix. Next thing I want to address is these horrendous looking roof racks. So what I had to do, because it had a lock on it, was put a screwdriver right underneath here, pry it open, and then now you're able to lefty-loosey and get it loose off of there. And unfortunately, some of them is extremely stuck on from not moving for so long, but we got it off. This one. And of course, we're going back on with the OEM roof racks that I took off of Rocco before I sold them. It's nice to know that I'll at least have one piece of them back on the car. I completely forgot that they're not exactly the same. So they made one for the rear and one for the front. So you can obviously that this one is too far out, so that belongs into the front, and this is too far in, so this belongs into the back. So it's finally about time to sell the Subaru Forester parts car. And unfortunately, while I had it parked here, we had some heavy wind in Jersey and a branch fell down onto this car, shattering the old wing from the first Subaru and cracking the rear glass, along with leaving a pretty sizable dent here and some cracking on the paint. So unfortunately, the odds of us making the money back on this car has severely decreased, and I subjected myself to just selling parts off of the car, which included the weather mats that this car had, the front grille, the roof racks, and a few other odds and ends that won't affect the drivability of the car. But I didn't think there was any way possible for me to get $1,300 for a car with a blown head gasket and now a rear hatch glass broken. So I sold $300 worth of parts, and I still don't think we'll get $1,000 for this car, but I'm gonna try. Luckily, we do have a buyer coming for the whole car today. And honestly, whatever price he gives me, I'm happy to just sell it, because we've gotten all the parts that we needed from this car, and it is time to just get rid of it. You know, we weren't planning on making any money off of this car. We just needed tons of parts. So I'm interested, and you might be interested in finding out if the parts car was even worth it. Was it smarter to just buy all those parts separately, or was buying a parts car, parting everything out that we needed, than to sell the car afterwards? And we're back, not to the same intro location, but without two Subarus. And now we're here with just my one Subaru Forester. And just because we're down to one doesn't mean this one is complete. There's tons and tons more work we need to do, because once again, this car was only $1,000. There are some things like the sway bar end link that needs to be replaced, but for that, a wear and tear part, I think it's way better to go with a brand new or even upgrade it versus taking something like that off of a parts car. And that part is so cheap, that doesn't really make sense. So now to figure out if buying a parts car was worth it. So I have my handy dandy whiteboard here. So come in a little bit closer, so that way we can see all the prices. So here's every single part I took off of the car. The prices I got from eBay, and I just tried to find the cheapest one. So the prices may vary if you look it up yourself. Altogether, we ended up getting $750 worth of parts from the parts car. As you know, we spent $1,300 on the car. We sold $300 worth of parts off of it. And then we ended up selling the running and driving Subaru parts car with a blown head gasket for $700. We took a $300 loss on the parts car. So there's two pretty obvious mistakes that I made with buying this parts car. One being the price. $1,300 for a blown head gasket Subaru Forester is kind of a lot where I live. It did have three things that I wanted. It had the XT wing, paint match fender, and a working AC, which we didn't do that on camera, but now this car has working AC. With these three things alone, I honestly thought it was gonna be a little bit more expensive. It's okay, it all worked out in the end. My desire to get these parts and also be able to film a little bit faster instead of waiting for these parts to come in kind of outweighed the cost of the car, because I do believe we overpaid for the car. Mind you, the guy had it up for $2,500, which is absolutely ridiculous, but we were able to talk him down to $1,300. And also, mistake number two is a tree hitting the car. I feel like that severely decreased the value, because now you have a broken rear glass and also a huge dent in the hatch. I really think that turned the maybe $1,000 car into a $700 car. So to answer the question, was buying a parts car worth it? Kinda, but I definitely wish I paid less. So if you ever do this, make sure you get a car as cheap as possible and make sure it has every single part that you need to fix up your car to make it premium quality. That's it for today. Thank you for watching. Catch you next time. Peace. Oh, that was gonna be more exciting in my head, but instead I just have a broken whiteboard now.